Hi, welcome to our Christmas presents asana practice. We're going to be doing a short restorative practice this month, but you can make it a longer practice if you'd like, simply by pausing the video after you get into each pose, and then just let yourself stay in each pose for as long as you'd like. For this, we need lots of props. So a couple blankets if you have them, a block or a really fat book, a bolster or a big cushion, and then I always like to have an eye pillow handy. So let's go ahead and start by coming down onto our back. Bring your arms along your sides and just begin to slow the breath. Slow and deepen the breath. With every exhale, feel yourself growing heavy, letting go of all holding in the body and in the mind. With your next inhale, take your right leg and bring the knee in towards the right shoulder. Interlace your fingers around the right knee, draw it in tight. Let the left leg become heavy. Flex both ankles like you're standing. And use an inhale to bring your left knee in as well. And then extend the right leg straight towards the ceiling. Flex the foot and use the entirety of an exhale to let it slowly come down to the mat. Bringing your left and right to the midline in the core to engage the core to help you drop that leg slowly. And let's take the left knee in towards the left shoulder, flex both feet. Let yourself become heavy in the right thigh and hip. And then draw both knees in on an inhale. Lift that left leg straight up and use the entire length of your exhale to let it slowly come down. Draw the front of your hips together to the midline. Engage the core. Control the leg. Now let's go ahead and bring both legs back in. And just make some nice big circles with your hips. I like to kind of make circular motions with my knees going away from each other and then back together. And when that feels complete, go ahead and change directions. And then when you feel like you've done an equal number in both directions, go ahead and roll to either side and gently press yourself back up. Let's come to our first restorative position. We're going to take our bolster and bring it behind us. So we're kind of sitting midway on the mat, facing the end of the mat, and the bolster is going to bump up right against our sit bones. And then the block is going to go on the mid setting underneath the bolster, not right at the end, because that tends to let the bolster become saggy in the middle, but kind of put it a little bit, maybe several inches in from the end of the bolster. Then we're going to take a blanket and rolling it to something about this long, about 3.5, 4 feet in length. Go ahead and roll it. Then we're going to bring the soles of our feet together and wrap the blanket around the top of the feet and then under the legs so that our legs kind of relax onto the bolster and it gives us support for our legs, especially for the groin muscles. So if you need to pause this until you get set up, you can do that. And then again, with the bolster bumped right up against your back, go ahead and lie down and really open up the shoulders as you let the arms come out, externally rotate, and the palms face the sky. And then just relax here. Each time you come into one of these restorative poses, bring yourself back to your breath and start letting your breath become equal in length, the inhales and the exhales. And then let's let the exhales become slightly longer than the inhales. Maybe counting 3 for the inhale, 4 for the exhale. And then when you feel that breath pattern is in place, add a little bit of pause at the top and at the bottom of each breath. Letting the breath spontaneously arise with an inhale or let go with an exhale. And then just relax. When you find those pauses in the breath, let your mind become still as well. As thoughts pass through your mind, which they will, simply let them go with an exhale. Letting go of thoughts and worry and tension. Here, there's nothing to do or achieve. Let yourself simply be held in space. Now when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And gently press into the floor of the mat and bring yourself back up. We'll move the blanket out of the way. And let's bring the bolster in front of us, still running longwise with the mat. And we're going to come onto our right hip, and the block can come off to the side as well. So we'll come onto our right hip and we're going to bring that right hip right up against the bolster. Take your right hand behind the bolster, kind of midway up the length of the bolster. And we really want to come into a nice deep twist. We want to let the muscles that are holding us up completely relax. So completely support your weight on that right arm. Use an inhale to create space in the spine. And as you exhale, starting with the lower ribs, start to turn your shoulders so that they're parallel with the front of your mat. Every inhale, lengthen. And every exhale, just slowly continue into your twist all the way up to your collarbone until you feel like you're as far in the twist as your body will allow. And then you can come down onto your mat and look away from your knees if your neck allows. If your neck does not allow on this side, go ahead and face your knees. If you come down on the bolster and it feels like it's just a little too low, you can take your block and you can put it underneath the end of the bolster and give it a little bit of height. Go ahead and come down and get comfy. Again, pause the video if you need to get yourself set up. Remembering again that you can pause the video and just stay in this pose as long as you'd like. Go ahead and with an inhale, bring yourself back up. And then we're just going to pivot and bring our opposite hip to the mat. And again, take your hand behind, this time the left hand behind the bolster, and put your weight onto that arm. Allow the inhales to elongate the spine and exhale from the lower to the upper ribs, slowly coming into your twist. And when you feel like you're as far around as you're going to come, your shoulders maybe all the way parallel with the front of the mat, come down again, and if your neck allows, take your gaze. I'm going to lift up so you can hear me because my mic will be muffled, but take your gaze away from your knees. ready with your inhale, go ahead and press yourself back up to sitting. Let's just turn our orientation so we're facing the mat with our legs wide. And you can pick yourself up and set yourself down so that you've got a little bit more of a forward lean. And you may want your block under the bolster for this. You may not need it. You can leave it like it is, or if you have a fairly limber lumbar spine, you might set it crossways like this. But either way, take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, just let yourself come down and let the back round, the head fall. But use your bolster for support with your arms. And if you have your bolster in front of you still running parallel with the long end of your mat, you might even be able to rest your forehead on the bolster. Allow the back of the neck, whatever variation you're in, to be nice and long. Shrug the shoulders from your ears. If the hamstrings feel particularly tight, just bend the knees slightly, relax the hamstrings. You might even put a blanket under each hamstring to help them release. So you might just take it, a blanket, and fold it so it's not too fat. And just put that under each of your knees if the hamstrings are tighter than the back, and then allow yourself to come down. Breathing into the lumbar spine, inflating the skin of your lower back out into the sides. And also, with all these poses, you may pause the video and stay here for as long as you'd like. Use an inhale and gently bring yourself back up. And let's go ahead and put the bolster off to the side, blankets as well. We'll end with a nice side body stretch to either side. Come down onto your mat and stretch your arms overhead and reach your fingers away from your heels. Stretch your body as long as you can. And then relax, bending your elbows. Hold each elbow in one of your palms. Take a nice inhale. Exhale your heels off the left side of your mat. Cross your right ankle over your left. Try to keep both buttocks on the mat. Legs are generally straight. Nice deep inhale. Lengthen the spine. And on your exhale, take your upper body and arch it in the same direction as your feet to a nice lazy banana shape. And again, slow the breath. Exhale slightly longer than inhales. Find the pauses at the top and at the bottom of each breath. And allow yourself to linger there in silence of breath and mind. And use an inhale to straighten the upper body and then disengage the legs. Take a nice deep inhale and walk the heels off the right side of the mat, crossing the left ankle over the right, keeping the left buttock on the mat. Inhale some length, exhale, upper body curves in the right to the right as well. Breath slows down and you sink into the pauses. Relax your jaw and the whole face soft. And down an exhale, bring the upper body back and bring the feet back. And then curl your knees and wrap your arms around your knees, hug them tight. Take a nice deep inhale and curl towards your knees and hug everything tight. Hug muscle to bone. Engage the belly without clenching. And relax. Coming into Shavasana and then making yourself ready for Yoga Nidra meditation. If you're going to go on about your day or evening, go ahead and pause here for a few minutes. Just letting everything soak in, feeling sensations in your body, allowing your mind to stay deep in the inner stillness you've created. Namaste.